exclusivity is a lie. But first, this video is not sponsored, but thank you to those who have helped me out on Patreon. You are making this channel possible. We've all got the friend who owns like an Audi A4 and he goes and looks up exactly how many of his exact specification cars were made in this color with no sunroof and power locks and split fold down rear seats, and they're like, they only made 3,000 of these. It doesn't make your car special, it's just a specification. And we might laugh at that person. However, rich people fall for this too, because overall, there's pretty much no exclusive cars on the market anymore, unless you're special enough to be on the list for the next Ferrari, Porsche, or McLaren hypercar, or you've got a Pagani on order. Now, I'm obviously not saying that you need to have an exclusive car to be special, but manufacturers know that that feeling that you have is valuable, so they'll prey on it in any way they can. I'm aware my hair is terrible today. But more often than ever, manufacturers are selling options as if they're selling you an exclusive car. They're just calling it something else. The most guilty party of this, to my knowledge, at this very moment is Lamborghini. Lamborghini built the Aventador SVJ. It's destroyed Nürburgring lap times, and it's a really impressive package. They're supposed to build 900 of these cars. That's fairly exclusive. And then last summer, they came out with the SVJ 63. The 63 is in honor of Lamborghini's founding year in 1963, and they're going to build 63 of them. But what is it? The truth is, it's nothing. It's literally just the stickers and a special package of accents and Alcantara. Nothing that you couldn't have already done through the ad personam program if you were building an SVJ on your own. So objectively, this car is meaningless, and they've marketed it in a genius way, because the 63 SVJ 63s are not part of the 900 SVJs that are being made. They're in addition to the 900. So if anything, it makes the SVJ less exclusive while also promoting an exclusive version of the car. So they have their cake and they can eat it too. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world to see that someone would fall for this kind of trick. This is a great example of how a manufacturer can create the illusion of exclusivity. And we don't just see this on high-end brands. Subaru and Toyota have been pushing cars like the S209 and special edition GT86s, which they'll only make 209 and 300 respectively. But what they're not telling you is that they can barely move these cars. So why does it matter? Frankly, it doesn't, but it can financially, because this is leverage for a Subaru or Toyota dealer to come up to you and say like, hey, yeah, there's only gonna be 300 of these made, and maybe they don't budge on that MSRP when you try to talk them down. But the reality is, if they took in these cars as dealer allocations, they'd be sitting on the lot forever and they'd have to take a hit on it anyway. Just because you read on Autoblog that they're only gonna make 300 makes it sound like, ooh, I'm gonna have to compete for this. Chances are you are not. And that brings us to Ford, when money matters and marketing is genius. In 2016, Ford planned on only producing 1,000 Ford GTs. That was the entire production run, and they forced people to literally audition for the cars. If you remember, they created this entire mystique. They created demand by having famous YouTubers and influencers make audition tapes to say why I want this car, submit these 1-minute videos to Ford, and then they were gonna go talk about them anyway. So that way Ford would consider them. So if you're the Stradman and you've got 2 million followers, you're gonna run out and say, hey Ford, I'll drive your car, I'll show it off, I'll show the world how great your engineering is. And Ford wins either way. When you have someone like Shmi get the allocation, he's gonna show off your vehicle non-stop. And when you have someone like James, the Stradman, not get the allocation, he's gonna talk about it and create more mystique, more demand. Man, if he didn't get one, then who did? Why did he get one and he didn't get one? That is mind-blowing genius. But Ford went a step further. They put in the contract that you weren't allowed to sell the car for 2 years. You had to own the car if you were going to be awarded this allocation. Some people broke that, and they sold upwards of $1 million at auction. John Cena's Ford GT sold for nearly $2 million, and now the average auction price is around 1.2. And once again, free press for Ford. Oh my goodness, he broke the contract. Autoblog, Jalopnik, everybody's talking. And the value of the car just skyrocketed because you've got the golden ticket to get into Wonka's factory. But then Ford turns around and slaps their own customers in the face by announcing that they're gonna produce another 350 examples. Now the cars are still gonna be worth a lot of money, but all of the initial buyers who bought these cars under these very strict guidelines had the idea that there were going to be 1,000 made. And then when you increase that by over 30%, you're killing the exclusivity factor and proving that it's all just fabricated. You can make what you want to make. So how do you find exclusivity in 2020? You've got hypercar manufacturers like Koenigsegg and Pagani who are legitimately limited by their manufacturing capabilities. They will always have more demand than the ability to produce cars. I talk with my hands a lot. But you've still got old school coach builders like Zagato and new school coach builders like Singer. That's kind of where the exclusivity lies. Back when I was growing up in the 90s, I didn't know what an M car was. If I saw an M3, an E36, I knew it looked cool. I wasn't sure why it looked cool. It sounded better than the other cars that my neighbors drove, and it just was neat, and I needed to find out more about it. We didn't have the internet. Everybody wasn't aware of what was going on. In fact, today, Porsche's PTS, or Paint to Sample program, is massive. If you can afford to spend that $12,000 and your sales guy doesn't hate you. Basically, as long as your sales guy doesn't think you're a huge asshole, he's gonna let you get into this PTS program if you can slap down the $12,000 for your exclusive color on your build. But back in the 90s and early 2000s, this was unheard of. You had to be someone to even know that PTS existed. And if you have a 90210 zip code and you summered in the Hamptons, or you called it summering to begin with, this might not be for you. You probably saw these cars everywhere growing up. But for the rest of us, this wasn't normal. This wasn't something we even knew about, and it's certainly something we weren't tracking via Instagram when everyone got their special car. In fact, for the 996.2 GT3, we only got 3 paint to sample cars in North America. 2 were GT Silver and 1 was Minerva Blue. Compare that to today when there's 1,948 speedsters and like more than 10% of those are paint to sample cars. Again, this is not to belittle the cars. The speedster's phenomenal. I haven't driven one. I'd love to drive one. I'd love to own one. I'd love to even see one. These hyper exclusive programs like McLaren MSO or Porsche CXX give you the opportunity to create something really special for you. But because of that, it also enables people to make pretty ugly cars. And if you go too far with your options, you've got a car that's going to be hard to sell because no one's going to want a car with your social security number embroidered on the seat. And let's not forget Caroll Shelby. He'd pretty much put his name on anything. And you know what? We'll give him a pass because he donated a lot of money to like children's charity foundations. But his name alone sold a lot of not great cars. And thanks to Radwood, these old Shelby cars have had a bit of a resurgence. In fact, if it was offered to him, we'd probably have the Caroll Shelby Sham Wow. He did make chili.
Caroll Shelby's original Texas brand chili mix. Well, Caroll?
You said a mouthful.
Actually, Radwood could probably revive that chili brand. The moral of the story is don't be swayed by the allure of exclusivity. Sometimes it's meaningless. Some cars like the C63 S Edition 1, you end up getting this great seats, it's a classy package and it looks good, and it's not a massive adder on top of the MSRP. But a lot of these cars are just money grabs. Look at the 488 Pista Peloti Edition. There's only gonna be like 51 or 52 of these, and it's gonna be a huge markup, and it's sold only to people who are part of the Ferrari Racing Series. That's fun for them, but it's kind of like just wearing a ring that says you're part of the Big Dick Club, and then like you're walking down the street and you're like, this guy. It's the same car, it just has some stripes on it. Overall, I think it's great. I would much rather that Porsche go and produce a ton of GT3s, so that way someday, with my meager funds, I can afford to get a depreciated GT3 on the second, third, fourth-hand market in retirement. But don't be fooled just by the allure of fake exclusivity. It's kind of just manufactured by the manufacturers, and they're doing it on a lower level as well. So, be smart with your money. Don't jump at everything just because they put a sticker on it. Sometimes it really is just a sticker that they charge you $200,000 for. So thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.